Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to look at how we can actively shift from just, barely surviving life's inevitable crises to actually thriving in the face of them. We're going to explore how to build what is essentially a psychological immune system. We'll be pulling from some really fascinating research on health and well-being to uncover the exact tools you need to maintain your equilibrium no matter what everyday life throws your way. Let's dive right in. So, think about this for a second. What if you could actually be immunized against the dangers of unhealthy stress? It's a pretty provocative question, right? But there's this incredibly empowering reality. Look, it's highly unlikely any of us will go through life without experiencing some acute pressure. That's just life. But when we actively find ways to manage those pressures, and we use that intense energy to create something positive, we don't just survive, we learn to survive healthfully. By doing this, we become stress fit for future challenges. Just like a medical vaccine prepares your body's defenses, actively managing today's pressure literally immunizes you against the dangers of unhealthy stress tomorrow. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with immunizing against stress, look at the stress-resistant personality, define some key life skills, and then break down 3 absolute game changers: assertiveness, time management, and rational thinking. All right, let's jump straight into section 1. Immunizing against stress, and how we go about rebuilding positively after personal crises. It's pretty interesting. A lot of people actually sail through major crises and rebuild their lives in a really positive way. So how do they do it? Well, they tend to possess highly constructive attitudes, and they lean hard on strong emotional and social support systems. Managing pressure isn't just about white-knuckling it and getting by. It's about transformation. When you take the chaotic energy generated by a stressful situation and consciously use it to create a positive outcome, you are actively training your resilience. You're surviving healthily. And that acts as that vital immunization we just talked about, leaving you completely stress-fit for whatever comes down the pike next. Moving right along to section 2, the stress-resistant personality, or what we can kind of think of as the hardware of hardiness. So there's this really fascinating concept drawn from studies by the researcher Suzanne Cabasa. She looked at people who experience exceptionally high levels of stress, but paradoxically, they maintain very low levels of illness. So what exactly makes them different? Well, they share a specific personality trait called hardiness. Hardiness is basically a foundational set of beliefs about yourself, the world around you, and how the two interact. It literally acts as the core operating system for a resilient, healthy mind. Okay, so what does this hardiness actually look like in everyday practice? It consists of the 3 C's. First up, commitment. This is a deep, genuine dedication to your work, your family, your hobbies, your social life. Second is control, which means maintaining a firm sense of purpose and direction, really believing that you have a say in how your life unfolds. And third is challenge. Now, this one is absolutely key. Hardy individuals don't see life's unexpected changes as threats to be feared. No way. They view them as entirely normal and, incredibly, as positive opportunities for growth. But hey, what if you aren't naturally wired that way? That brings us perfectly to section 3, life skills. These are basically the software upgrades for your minds. Here is the really empowering part of all this. If you don't naturally possess those 3 C's of hardiness we just talked about, you're absolutely not out of luck. You can actually learn and improve specific life skills to equip yourself. Think of life skills as abilities for adaptive and positive behavior. They're what enable us to deal effectively with the constant demands and challenges of everyday life. These are essential, learnable tools that you actively use to counterbalance stress. Basically, if your hardware needs a little help, you simply download some new software. Let's check out the first of these major software upgrades in section 4, assertiveness and the art of communicating with confidence. Assertiveness is a totally vital behavior that allows you to communicate your feelings, needs, wants, and thoughts clearly and confidently. In the real world, this is the literal ability to look at someone and just say no to a request without feeling a shred of guilt. It's stating your opinions without feeling all self-conscious about it. It's expressing your emotions, whether that's profound love or just frustration, openly and honestly. When you successfully practice assertiveness, you are directly building a solid sense of your own identity. You cultivate high self-esteem, which makes you so much less vulnerable to all those external pressures. Our next essential tool is in section 5, time management, which is really all about valuing your focus. I just want to pause for a second here and let this powerful idea really sink in. The way you spend your time determines the quality of your life. It is profoundly simple, but man, it is so easily forgotten. The central principle of time management isn't just about cramming more tasks into your already busy day. It is about intentionally spending your time doing the things that you actually value, the things that actively help you achieve your larger life goals. So how do we build this into practical application? Well, to relieve pressure, you absolutely have to learn to plan and delegate effectively. A massive way to reduce time stress is to fundamentally change your perception of time itself. You've got to be deeply realistic about what you know you must do within a given period, and then balance those mandatory obligations directly against what you actually want to achieve. It's about organizing your life to actively achieve a harmony between those two things, rather than just letting the ticking clock dictate your anxiety levels.
And this brings us to our final core life skill in Section 6, rational thinking, and why we must challenge our distorted beliefs.
There is a tight, undeniable connection here. The way you think and the way you feel are completely inextricably linked. A lot of the time, actually scratch that, most of the time, stress-related problems are really just the result of distorted thinking. When we're stressed, our brains have this inbuilt selective bias. We automatically attend to negative thoughts and images from the past, which then totally and unfairly taint our perception of the present and the future. So the rational solution? You have to actively drive out those potentially intrusive, anxiety-provoking thoughts. You counterbalance that selective bias by consciously challenging your own irrational beliefs and intentionally making positive statements to reframe your reality. Okay, so the crucial point is this. Your ability to cope relies entirely on how well you prepare yourself. By tying all these learned skills together, assertiveness to protect your boundaries, time management to protect your focus, and rational thinking to protect your mindset, you create the ultimate mental toolkit. You use these skills to constantly counterbalance the everyday demands thrown at you. And that is exactly what allows you to maintain your life's equilibrium, literally no matter what the environment throws your way. So I want to leave you with a twofold question based on everything we've unpacked today. First, which irrational belief are you going to actively challenge today? And second, looking at your schedule, are you actually spending your time on what you truly value? Upgrading your psychological immune system starts the exact moment you decide to answer those questions for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to put these new tools to work right away. Catch you next time.